hey, Mike White. It's Mike White May. And we're recording now, just so we're all clear.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me. Yes,
you're welcome. So Mike White May is the time of the year, similarly to You've Never Seen September, when I turn the programming over to Father Malone and Mike White May and You've Never Seen September, just to keep things interesting. No, Mike White May is programmed by you, Mike. And we haven't done on this show in a very long time a series of episodes about 2 movies at a time. That is something that I used to do a very long time ago. I met you in 2015, but I did that from 2015 to probably, I think 2016. So
wow, 1 whole year?
2.
That's wild.
2 years, 2.5, a year and a half. I mean, here's the thing. 2 movies a podcast is a lot. On top of interviews for each movie, on top of, watching them and then the assorted ephemera, as they would put it. But when you were like, let's do Francis Veber films and the original films and the remakes, I was like, sure, why not? And that's why we're here.
Signed your own death warrant.
I
Chris.
did. I looked death straight in the eyes and said, bring it on, baby. So yeah, if you are clicking on this episode, you know that it is Mike White May over at the Culture Cast. I am still your host, Chris Stachiw, and I am joined by my good friend, the aforementioned Mike White at the projection booth.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Didn't realize that was my cue there.
Okay. Coming in. It's all good. And
dude.
Sacre bleu. What's my favorite French word is merde. It makes shit sound way more fun than just saying shit. You can really
get merit in this movie.
Yeah, there sure is. And a lot of ass and a lot of butt. A lot of buttocks in this movie. And also joining us all the way from Dark Destinations, Midnight Viewing, which is now a weekly podcast, folks. And you can find it over at weirdingwaymedia.com. Your friend and mine, Father Malone.
Derriere.
Merde. And on this episode of the Culture Cast, if you don't know what we're talking about the Tall Blond Man with One Black Shoe.
Do it in French.
You do it in French.
I don't have it in front of me, or I would definitely mangle it.
It's La Avec Moi son Charisse Noir, I think. I probably missed 1 or 2 words in there. And then we'll also be talking about the 1985 film, which is in English, The Man with One Red Shoe.
Why is everyone looking for Tom Hanks?
Disgusting fiend. Oh, come on, Morris.
There he is. Because he was in the right place, at the right time, in the wrong shoe. Now, double agents are fascinated by him.
Why the one red shoe?
Beautiful women are attracted to him.
I knew it was you.
Could you please just step aside?
You're cooking now.
May I help you?
And complete strangers are knocked out by his charm.
Something wrong?
No, Mom.
You seem tense.
I did pass out today and got hit in the head by a baseball. Then brushed my teeth with shampoo. My clothes fell apart. But no, I'm not tense.
You need to relax. And I'm going to help.
I think you're falling for this guy. How do you like that?
Are you an agent?
No, but I used to have an agent.
Are you a spy?
Of course not. I'm no more a spy than you're a spy.
Waste him!
Let me just ask one thing. Oh, never mind.
Tom Hanks, Dabney Coleman, Laurie Singer, Charles Durning, Carrie Fisher, and Jim Belushi.
Oh, come on!
In this summer's most hilarious comedy that's one step ahead of the rest. The Man with One Red Shoe.
Before we get into the movies, both of them, why are we talking about Francis Veber films, Mike?
Well, so I don't even remember how long ago we did the film Buddy Buddy over on the projection booth. And I went back and I watched the original version of that, which was called A Pain in the Ass, or I don't remember what the French title was. But as I'm looking at Francis Veber's filmography, I was completely blown away because I was not familiar with his work, but I was. But I wasn't, but I was. So I just was so intrigued that this guy has done so many screenplays, has directed, dozen films, but he's done like 48 screenplays.
Right.
And almost every single one has been remade multiple times, either in the US or in other countries. And so I was just intrigued. So I had a whole list of all of these movies that I wanted to watch. Mike White May came about and I said, here we go. Here's my opportunity to sit myself down, force myself to watch these, and hopefully share the pleasure with one of my best friends, Chris Stachiw.
Whoa. That title you were looking for, Mike, is Le Émondeur.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And for you, Father Malone, since you asked, it's Le Grand Blond avec un chaussure noir. So there you go.
Lovely.
Yeah. Not to be confused with the second film, The Return of the Tall Blond Man with One Black Shoe, which we will not be talking about. And to Francis Veber's point,
You won't?
I watched it.
I mean, I guess we can talk about it, but I was more to make the joke about Francis Veber just going, it wasn't a good movie. I made it for the money, which, I mean, being self-aware is always funny, at least for me, for a director to go, yeah, it sucked, but it was for the money. So Mike, you kind of laid out why we're doing Francis Veber films this year for Mike White May, but why are we doing these two films, or this one film and the remake in particular? I always ask you this question every year, so I hope you're prepared.
Well, with this one, it was one of the first ones. He is not directing this. This is Yves Robert. I guess you would pronounce that. And this is the one right before A Pain in the Ass. And like I said, this one is one of the early ones. I think he had adapted his own plays. He had done a TV episode, and I think he had done some adaptation of stuff, but this was really his first big screenplay. And from what I understand, it was a pretty big hit as well. And so, yeah, I wanted to start at the beginning because that's what I like to do. And then we had to do The Man with One Red Shoe because I wanted to compare how the French versus the Americans handled this topic.
And hey, the director of the film is in the movie. Yves Robert is I guess he's in both the original and the sequel, but in the original, I think he's a waiter is what he is, or he's a chef. He's a very pronounced looking man with a big afro and a nice slick mustache. So yeah, on this episode of the Culture Cast, we're going to be talking about The Tall Blond Man with One Black Shoe and the American remake, The Man with One Red Shoe.
I think he was the conductor of the orchestra.
Is that what it was? Okay. I couldn't remember, but they kept cutting to a guy, and then I saw his picture and I was like, oh, that's him, which is fun. But yeah, like we've kind of alluded to, that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode of the Culture Cast. I'm not going to run down both movies separately because we're going to probably just run them down together. But Mike, I'll kick it to you first and then Father Malone after. What did you think sitting down to watch the original and the remake?
I freaking loved the original. I had never seen it before. I was laughing my ass off the other night while I was watching this and just having such a fun time. I don't think I've ever seen Pierre Richard in anything else, but he was so good in this as Francois Perrin, and apparently that name comes up multiple times. It's like there's two names that Weber uses consistently, and Perrin is one of them. I just had such a good time with this movie. I hope that you guys did as well. And I will tell you, I saw The Man with One Red Shoe back when it was out. So I was 13 years old. Yeah, wow. That's the math on that. Didn't really appreciate it when I was 13. Watching it this time after having just seen The Tall Blond Man with One Black Shoe, still wasn't into it. I still couldn't get into it. And what's funny is that it's so similar. There are so many scenes where it's just one scene repeating the other. And I don't know if it was just Tom Hanks hadn't found his footing yet, and I didn't find Laurie Singer to be compelling. But yeah, even with this amazing cast, it just did not hit home. So I apologize for that one, unless you liked it a lot. In that case, great. But those were my impressions.
Mon Dieu, Father Malone.
Not the first time I've seen both of these movies. I saw The Man with One Red Shoe in the theater when it came out. And then I saw it 1,000,000 times on HBO because it was it's one of those movies that was just on at all times. So if the TV was on, probably the movie was on and just in the background even. When I moved to Los Angeles, there was and continues to be a fantastic video store called Vidiots. And they had a comparative section in there where I realized that The Toy was a remake and Three Fugitives was a remake, and I knew that The Man with One Red Shoe had been a remake. Yeah, I had read or somewhere seen that it had been, but I had never seen it before, so that was my first introduction to that movie. I haven't seen either pretty much since then, which is 30 years, I guess. I loved The Man with the One Red Shoe. I did not appreciate the Tall Blonde at the time. I appreciated it so much more this time. However, I'm one of those people who you're saying great for here, Mike, because I think that The Man with One Red Shoe is a superior flick.
Whoa, that is a sacre blue moment, baby. Wow. Well, I'm not gonna have that hot of a take. If it's a hot take at all, I mean, I don't think, oh my God, news has been made. He has an opinion about a movie from 1985 that nobody's talking about right now. It has Tom Hanks in it too, on top of everything else. It has Tom Hanks in it. I find that to be an interesting take, Father Malone, only because I find that the line that separates the two movies is very thin. It is a very thin line in terms of The Man with One Red Shoe being a remake. I mean, it's like in a lot of ways, not shot for shot, but like beat for beat a remake, which I'm not going to say makes this episode difficult, but it makes it a little difficult to keep the two movies separate because for the most part, they're doing the exact same thing outside of a couple beats that are a little different. I would say a couple beats that have been softened for an American audience, namely the kind of climax of the movie, which I think for me works better in the original. And then in the remake, it's like, where are the stakes here? I mean, I get it. And I know that, again, not having characters die, not having characters being killed, not something that it's not a matter of American audiences finding it palatable, but it's a Tom Hanks movie. It's not trying to do anything necessarily super interesting with what it's been given, which is a shame because I think it does kind of rob the later parts of the movie of some of the impact. But at the end of the day, it's a comedic film that is about a guy who is having an entire situation put upon him of no fault of his own, literally because of other people fucking around with his clothing, that he is then noticed by, the intra-agency people that he's noticed by, and he's kind of put upon with this entire facade that they, kind of create around him, thinking he's one way, but he's another. So, I mean, both movies are very similar. That's the problem. Like, I'm actually, I might even walk it back a little bit, Father Malone. I don't think your take is that hot. I think if you're an American, it makes sense to watch the Man with One Red Shoe because it has fucking Tom Hanks in it. Not to say Pierre Richard doesn't have any.
And Ed Herman.
Right. I mean, it
Charles
has
Durning.
And Dabney.
Fisher. And it's like the cast is fucking killer.
And that Dabney. It's the Coleman cast, baby. We're doing it right here, Mike.
It's there.
Yeah, you made it happen. But that for me, I think is kind of the hurdle to try to get an American audience to watch the French film. Obviously, we've talked about this a million times. The goddamn subtitles are going to prove a stumbling block. Availability is another one. But I think they're close enough that you could make the case where you would be able to watch either one and get the gist of the story. I think for me, I resonated with the French one a little bit more only because I preferred the humor in that movie over the humor in the American remake. And I think that's, if anything, like that might be the one big difference between them is just the way that they employ comedy and the use of comedy. Because again, like the French one is a little bit more, I wouldn't say blue, but it's playing less safe than the American one does. And the American one's playing it safe, but at the same time, I mean, it's trying to stay true to the source material. So I enjoyed both of them. I will say though, the one that I watched again for the third time by choice was the original, just to reassess my kind of thoughts on it. But I watched each of them twice up until that point. And I wouldn't say either is a slog. I think they're both fine. They're both a breezy hour and a half, but I'm excited to talk about them. But yeah, this is a weird Tom Hanks movie is kind of my big takeaway. Because like you said, Mike, he's not Tom Hanks yet. Like not the way that I kind of perceive. And I mean, Father Malone, we talked about a 1980s Tom Hanks comedy a couple years ago now, right? Movie that came out 2 years later. I was going to talk about Dragnet.
Oh yeah, and Mazes and Monsters. We're all over it.
Yeah, Mazes and Monsters was last year when we did Tom Hanks for February, which this didn't come up, but we did Volunteers, which came out after this, and then. Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to skin you. I'm going to use your shin bone as a pencil box.
And we also did The Burbs, which was fantastic. But for me, like, I guess, I don't know, maybe Tom Hanks doesn't hit his stride in the 80s until Dragnet, because I watched Volunteers, and this is better than Volunteers. That's for sure. That is a rough movie to get through. This movie at least hangs together like a film. Volunteers really didn't. But for me, I think the big thing I walked out of the movie was, man, if only they had gotten Tom Hanks like 2 years later or 3 years later, and he had kind of really become that actor that he is now, that so many people talk so highly about, because he's a fantastic actor and deserves it.
So you said that all of this stuff is put upon him, but what I like is that there is this level of, I mean, it's almost like Joseph K type persecution. We literally pick a random person out of a crowd of people coming in at an airport and suddenly say he's the secret agent, just to set these agents, to trap one agent within the other one, and just all of this like double crossing and all these things, and it's all spy versus spy kind of stuff with poor Pierre Richard right in the middle. But what I also enjoy is that he's got his own like mini conflict going on with sleeping with his best friend's wife. They're all in an orchestra together. I'll just call him Pierre Richard, plays the violin. The woman, Paulette, plays the harp, and his buddy Maurice plays the timpani. And there's all of that conflict there. I love the first time that they're playing together, and they keep missing cues, and the way that he flings his bow of his violin. I mean, there's a lot of sight gags in here. He's not as out there as like a Jerry Lewis or even a Tati, but I like that he's very physical, but not overly so. But he really can carry himself very well, and that was the thing. I think that Hanks just wasn't quite there yet with the physical comedy that he's able to pull off now, or was able to pull off throughout so much of his career. But I love that the situation with the spies exacerbates all of the stuff that's going on in his own little personal world, and all of his little foibles that he's got are just made so much bigger.
Let me address some of the things you said, Chris, about the sort of differences between the films, because I agree 100% that the line between what makes your preference for either of these movies is incredibly thin.
Right.
Yes.
What ultimately does it for me is the American one has the benefit of having the film made and the screenplay to draw from, but I think some of the situations they made a lot funnier. There's the bit in the end where there are two sets of assassins basically in his apartment who end up killing each other. In the French one, they just kill each other instantly. All four guys dead. And it's like, there are four guys dead in your apartment, and then that's it. Whereas in the American one, they turn it into a bit more business, but they leave Tom Noonan alive. And then there's a thing with Dabney Coleman outside. Like, that all felt more contained to me. And the others, and like the ending, actually, not to jump to the ending, spoilers, everybody, but like, I liked that Charles Durning got his as well. Maybe that's an American point of view, and I want somebody punished here. But Jean Rochefort just sort of like walking away scot-free, not only walking away scot-free, but basically becoming the hero of the sequel, kind of doesn't sit well with me. These fuckers who just pluck this one guy out of a crowd and turn his life upside down and don't give a shit about any of it. Like, I want some recompense there, and the American movie gives me that. The other thing the American movie gives me is the stakes that you mentioned. There are zero stakes in the French film. That movie is a farce. It is a slapsticky comedy where I don't feel like anyone is actually in danger. Whereas throughout the American one, I feel like tons of people are in danger. They waste everybody, and it seems more vicious than the French one. The French one's sort of light and frothy. I think there's a dark undercurrent with the American one. The sort of the deep distrust of the government that sort of like spilled over from the 70s kind of informs the American one. That's kind of what tipped me over to that one. But that doesn't mean that the fucking French film isn't a gem. And I also think these days, I think the subtitles are actually less of a thing. We're all watching screens with our fucking captions on, all the time now. So it's a lot easier for people. So I think right now is the perfect time for people to go check out the French film.
I mean, I agree. I agree with you just in general in terms of it's never been easier to broaden your film horizons, given that you can literally watch most things either dubbed or subtitled. I'm not a dubbing advocate, never have been, never will be. But if it's the only way for you to see something, then you should fucking watch it if it's dubbed. I mean, I can't imagine dubbing would be the only way to see something. That would seem like the further step to take as opposed to just subtitling it. But to your point, Father Malone, like, I watch everything with subtitles. I try to at this point. I can't hear without my subtitles. So I'm with you. I think that's a pretty apt point. And I do agree with you in terms of, I mean, the distrust of the government is yeah, it's not as universal in the French one as it is with, like, I guess distrust of the government is an American thing, at least the way that I grew up in the 90s with X-Files, which was like the distrust of the government show. I mean, that show exists in so many reasons, A, because of Kolchak, but B, because of the government's bullshit in the 90s with covering stuff up. And so to your point, I guess I see where you're coming from. For me, in terms of the French one, and you actually kind of got out in front of it. The French one's good until you watch the sequel, and then the French one, I have a hard time with that original one because the sequel makes no fucking sense because it undercuts the entire first movie, like the first 5 minutes. And they're like, oh, well, now he knows that this is happening. And it's like, and everybody's in on the joke. And it's like, whoa, what? Like, no. And to your point, we also have the character who should be getting his comeuppance, doesn't, and then becomes the literal hero of the fucking piece, to the point where his story is kind of the one that concludes the film in the climax.
100%.
Yeah.
The tall blonde guy is a minor player in the sequel. He's just there to get this character off the hook.
Right. To kind of yada yada away the first movie, but the first movie didn't need it. Like, we didn't need you to come back in and recontextualize the first movie. Like, the first movie's fine. It's actually a really good movie.
It could have done like a U.S. Marshal situation and just carried on with those characters and left the tall blonde man in Buenos Aires or wherever he was with Christine at the end. Like, he needn't have been a part of it at all, and that could have been a successful movie, a 72-minute successful movie. They just 72 with credits.
Yeah, she feels like she's barely in the movie in the second one, and I'm just like, well, she is such a great part of the first one, especially that black dress. But she's amazing. I've never really seen Muriel Dark before that I'm aware of, and she shows up in a lot of these Veber films, some of the ones that we're not going to be talking about that he wrote. So I'm very curious to see more of her in every way possible. But yeah, I agree with you guys as far as there is no comeuppance for our essentially he's one of the two bad guys, and I would say both of the main spies are the bad guys, and it's really Paul Le Person as Parache, who's kind of the second in command under the main spy. He seems to be the one who actually cares about Pierre Richard and wants to make sure that he comes out unscathed, which I thought was nice, and I like his character a lot. But yeah, I think it's Jean Rochefort as Le Colonel Louis-Marie Alphonse Toulouse. Yeah, he's really the villain. He and Bernard Blier, who I think was also a director and directed some Veber stuff as well. Those two are the villains of the piece. And I'm glad when Biller dies, even though that's a pretty funny scene. Him getting
that's a great scene. Sorry,
yeah,
but
I really like that. And the guy who he gets the gun from, Jean Sodre as Poussette, what a face, right? He's got
like
just
a cartoon.
He's amazing to look at. I'm just like, this guy is great. And the whole movie's filled with some really good faces, but his stands out.
Well, and to your point, both of your points, like the American version and the French one have amazing looking character actors. I mean, you've already said it, Father Malone. Like, look, personally, Tom Noonan and I, not necessarily on the same page, but if you're going to hire someone who looks weird, Tom Noonan's great. Edward Herman is also another, like, interesting looking guy. I mean, there's tons. Carrie Fisher, Jim Belushi, all distinct and unique looking people, just like
David L. Lander in here.
Yeah. A useless
Gary Graham.
Yeah.
Garrett fucking Graham.
Beef himself, baby.
Not only does the American ending satisfy me because the CIA chief gets his, but more important, in the French film, he's having the lead is having an affair with his best friend's wife. And at the end of the French film, here's the thing. The American film feels vicious all the way through and then gives us a happy ending, whereas the French film feels like a happy, traipse through the countryside and then gives us this really vicious ending, as far as I'm concerned, where the husband is now catatonic on tranquilizers. She's leading him around like a dog, and she intends to keep fucking the lead character on the side and like trapping him into it. He effectively has to escape from it. Whereas at least Jim Belushi is in an asylum, like getting some help at the end of The Man with One Red Shoe. Like, I don't necessarily need her to feel bad or, I don't need a moral thing there, but I want that character to be okay.
I mean, and that's fair. I to your point, for as not say non-violent as the American one is, it does kind of lessen the harsh vibe at the end of the movie. Yeah, the thing with her husband is fucking rough. Oh,
I kind of like it.
But I mean, I find it amusing, but I also find the ending of Tusk funny. It's the same shit where it's just like, well, lives are ruined. Hilarious, isn't it? Like the fucking machinations of the machine grinding us all down into dust. Hilarious. I mean, look, that's the problem with the French one. And I understand where you're coming from, Father Malone. I think it's pretty, I wouldn't say nihilistic, but it is more than the American one is. And that makes sense. I feel like, and look, I don't want to say like American audiences can't take it, but American audiences can't take it. There's a film coming out this summer, fall with James McAvoy that's a remake of a Danish film, and its ending is pretty fucking brutal. There's a 9 out of 10 chance that they change it for the American one because, again, it's not that they don't want a happy ending, but the characters in this film that are bad get their comeuppance in a way that doesn't involve them getting murdered. So I think to your point, Father Malone, like I do think the American audiences want a happier ending, however you would interpret that.
Whereas the French one ends quite like our good friend Garrett Graham from The Man with One Red Shoe once said, hearts are broken, bad guys win.
I mean, yeah.
I love that he becomes the character. Do you want him killed? Should we kill him? Yeah, like, because is that guy in the French version, but having Garrett Graham become that character, should we kill him now? It's just like,
let's just pick him up.
He's so anxious to do it. I love it. And I'm glad that they even keep the whole thing with the dentist's office, because that's like the biggest waste of time in both movies. And yeah, we still do it in both movies. I was like, well, if there's one thing that the American one will do is they'll probably drop the whole thing with the dentist because he chickens out and doesn't go to the dentist. No, they keep the whole thing. So I'm like,
they need to have John Belushi give Tom Hanks a bag of gag peanuts somehow.
Oh, God.
Is that a fucking thing? Is that a thing? Was that a thing in 85, gag peanuts, that people were just like, here's a bag of rocks?
I don't think it was necessarily prevalent, but those joke shops did exist. Those joke novelties were around.
I'm just saying the French version makes more sense. He's just eating something and it pulls his filling out. Like that has happened to all of us. I don't know why they had to get so contrived with fake peanuts. Of all things, fake peanut.
But I will say that I think that Maurice deserves to be punished because he is a jokester and keeps handing out those exploding cigars. So
what in both versions you mean, or in the American one?
In the French version. That's why I'm fine with him being catatonic at the end.
Also, his sense of style doesn't really.
Morris does not.
Yeah, I mean, Morris, I think as a character, is also more fleshed out than Maurice is. Like Maurice is more there for the punchline than anything else.
Once Maurice goes catatonic like that, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Maurice, the sequel is basically just to fuck with him even more.
It's awful. It just like compounds how horrible it was like that.
Sir, you have schizophrenia. And that's the thing. Like, that's the thing for me. Like, for me, honestly, my takeaway from all three movies is there needs to be a movie about that character. The one who's just like seeing all these things happening is like, what am I seeing here? And then everything's perfect. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't see anything. That character would be an interesting, I mean, there's a tradition of that. I'm trying to think of some other things where it's like, don't you see this thing? And it's like, here, I kind of wish, I don't know. I mean, not that he doesn't need to be punished, but in the French one, he's a lot more of a dickhead. That's for sure.
You know, talking about Big Bird and Snuffleupagus?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
In setup, this movie reminds me of Brazil in a lot of ways, just from the sort of sheer randomness of choosing someone. But I think Brazil is more like what you were describing. Like if it was about the guy who witnesses the fuck up and then has to deal with the aftermath, that would be the tale of Maurice.
Mm-hmm. I think Brazil's also about being ground down by the system, which, I mean, this movie is kind of getting at as well.
Yeah. I mean, the American one is, I think the French version is just sort of the French attitude towards the government.
Right.
Which is just like, oh, they're awful, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, I do love how the French version ends with everyone has the right to a private life and shouldn't be under surveillance. I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. Especially this is 4 years after 68, so we've got a lot of problems with the government in France. And I think that some of that carries over into things like this.
Evidently, that law had come on the books 2 years prior to this film in France. Right. They had no law about privacy prior to that.
I'm honestly surprised that this has not been remade. In the times we live in now, I'm just saying, in the times of Jewish space lasers and all sorts of insane bullshit being believed, how is a movie like this how has an idea like this not been remade, but with that kind of slant to it, that kind of acerbic take on the government and them being, again, like the nanny state shit? Because that's what this movie is ultimately about, right? Is, again, how far can the government intrude into your personal life, which in both movies' cases is a lot, to the point of killing people in your apartment and then taking them out, but putting them back, but also leaving them. And I don't know. I feel like this is the kind of idea when we talk about things that need to be remade. I know everybody wants to remake the shit that's been super successful, but this is a story that I feel like has some topicality and commonality with the now times, frankly. I mean, with the all times in terms of the government spying on people, we know they're doing it now. In as many ways, we've made it easier for them. I have my fucking cell phone here on my table. They're listening at all times now. There was more privacy in 1985 or in 72. There's less privacy now than there's ever been.
What I like in both films is the sort of mass psychosis that comes with investigating somebody and having a suspicion and finding the suspicions in everything. Yes. Well, he's putting a code in his music. Like, what's he doing with that? That must be a thing. He's going to the dentist. Get somebody to the dentist. Just
tear out his teeth.
Yeah. Take every one of them.
Which one? All of them. Yes. It's just, that's awful, is all that is.
Well, I love that he's just so clueless, like how he's brushing his teeth with shampoo and all the bubbles coming out and everything. I really like those kind of just silly sight gags. And he's just so like, yeah, weirder stuff has been happening to me lately and has no idea what's going on.
Oh, could I just say that I here's another thing I like more in the American one. Like the concert scene in the French one is played for sort of slapsticky laughs, but the American one is played more for the characters because it's more about, we're getting the same dynamic in each. It's just the way it's presented. I don't know. In the American one, it's definitely about Jim Belushi and his relationship with his wife and his relationship with Tom Hanks, whereas it seems more farcy and kind of, a little more wacky in the French version.
Well, I do have to say, seeing this movie, seeing Man with One Red Shoe at 13 and having such a huge crush on Carrie Fisher, holy shit, was this what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, all these suckers for all these years have been saying, like, just the Princess Leia slave outfit. And I'm like, just a year later, we saw her in a leopard bikini, and she was like acting sexy and shit, man.
Oh, well, Under the Rainbow. She's amazing in that, too. She's down in her underwear in that one as well.
Carrie Fisher's great. I mean, look, I think, unfortunately, she's forever associated with The Thing, like so many of those actors from Star Wars have been now, like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill. But I guess in a lot of ways, Carrie Fisher, for most people, never escaped that orbit. Like Harrison Ford had something else, Mark Hamill had something else. And
no, I disagree. I think she transcended it better than both of them. Like she like made, once she became a novelist, like, and we've all figured out how fucking witty and funny and brilliant she was as a person. Like, she no longer became Princess Leia to me.
Sure, but I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm talking about for a specific like age of people. Most people my age don't know that Carrie Fisher wrote books. Postcards from the Edge was literally her book that then Meryl Streep was in playing her. Yes, that is one of Carrie Fisher's books, right? I'm more speaking for people my age. I agree with you. I think Carrie Fisher did more in terms of her ability to be creative and create things that I think were personal to her. I'm not saying Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford didn't, but I think it's unfortunate that for a lot of people of a certain age and below, she's known as Princess Leia, because that is underselling her immense talents, to your point, Father Malone.
Yeah, it's just such a shame she got strangled by her own bra.
Princess Leia has become a pretty cool symbol for actual revolution these days. So there are worse things for it to be,
You know what I'm talking about when I say that, right? About her bra. She said at one point while she was living, she said, what I want my obituary to be was that I got strangled by my own bra. And so when she died, some people honored her request and said that, but I thought that was hilarious.
But she's funny. She's fucking hilarious. I mean, her scene in Scream 3 is probably the best part of that entire movie. In a movie that has a lot of weird cameos, hers included. She's great here. I mean, kind of, I wouldn't say underused, but I mean, the character is not the focus of the movie. So they use her about as much as they use the character in the original film. It's not any more or any less, really.
So close are these two.
Yeah, I'm curious how this is going to go for the next few weeks here, Chris. Is everything going to be this similar? Because this one was just kind of splitting hairs.
I don't know, because I've seen the American version of Dinner for Schmucks. I haven't seen the original, and some of the other movies I haven't even seen at all. So I don't know. I hope not, but at the same time, who is that a credit to? Francis Veber's scripts, then, right? Like that, they're not changing much because they're already so fucking good on their own. At least that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah, I watched The Toy because you put it up on the Plex, and I hadn't seen it since way back in the day, and like that to me is a superior to the American one. But the American one follows that script to the letter, so he's doing something right. And weirdly, Pierre Richard's character has the same name in both movies.
Yeah, that's that. For whatever reason, I think he plays three characters of three similar names in 9 movies, to the point where it's on his Wikipedia. This is the character.
Like an Oh Lucky Man situation with Malcolm McDowell, same character, different scenarios.
Nick Travis, yeah.
I actually think the thing that was most surprising about this movie for me, just doing some of the research about Francis Veber, is this movie doesn't have Gerard Depardieu in it, which is not going to be the case for the rest of the month, right? Because he shows up in half of the things we're watching the rest of the month. Criminal Gerard Depardieu, apparently, as of last week, turning himself into French authorities, which is great. Awesome.
I didn't miss him in this film.
I don't think he belongs in this one. I think everybody is cast perfectly in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what that relationship is going to be like. I mean, I can see Depardieu being the straight man to Pierre Richard, because Richard is fucking funny, man. I really like the way he carries himself in this, and of all the things, I'm looking forward to diving into more of his work just because I enjoyed this so much.
I would actually say that if there was a spot for Gerard Depardieu in this film, it would be the Maurice character. I mean, again, am I saying an actor of his caliber would need to be in this film? No, but we know that Pierre Richard and Gerard Depardieu have this kind of pairing with some of these films, so it would have made sense. I don't think it would have added anything to the movie having Gerard Depardieu there instead of the actor who plays him. So, but if we're talking about a place to put him in as kind of the sidekick, which is where he's going to be for the rest of the month. Yeah, that might have made sense.
Sidekick?
Yeah.
You called me sidekick?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I got nothing.
Me either. So Stan Dragoti, folks, director of the film.
Yeah.
What an interesting filmography he has.
I mean, he directed some movies that I've seen so many. Well, Mr. Mom, amazing. I love Mr. Mom.
Me too. 220, 230?
I think, whatever it takes. I think, so Love at First Bite, that's the gay vampire movie.
Oh, God.
That's so good.
That's one of
here on the Culture Cast.
Without me.
Yeah,
without me.
The weird
one. Yeah,
I don't remember you guys liking that movie very much.
We like parts of it, but the sort of puerile kind of casually racist bullshit kind of weighed that movie down.
Mm-hmm. What I remember, Dirty Little Billy is a weird one. That was his directorial debut. It's like
Was that's fucking the Billy the Kid movie with
Michael J. Pollard. Yeah,
Michael J. Pollard. That's a weird fucking flick.
it's a really weird movie. And then he did She's Out of Control. Woo!
Danza, Tony Danza, everybody.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza. And then I did just recently, I think I watched Necessary Roughness. Was that? No, I didn't watch that one yet. That's Bakula and Elizondo. I just watched the one with
And Sinbad.
Jesus. I just watched the one with Kate Hudson's mom.
Gene Hack. Oh, Goldie Hawn.
Yes. I
Oh,
watched
the
one-
Dallas 40 one? No.
the one where it's Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
White Men Can't Jump?
No, it's the other one. And it's not
Money
Money
Train.
Train either.
Nobody stops the money train.
We're terrible at trivia, folks. I don't know if you guys know this.
I will
Also
tell you.
in Necessary Roughness, Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia.
Goddamn Robert Loggia, baby. Put him in anything and he makes it better. Where was Robert Loggia in this movie? That's the question.
I like the scene where they're sort of watching their surveillance footage of the lead in Christine, but in the American one they're sitting there behind one-way glass.
Right.
So you get that shot of Dabney Coleman coming right up to Tom Hanks's face while Tom Hanks is speaking, and he's going like, yeah, to him, and blowing smoke onto him. I don't know. I thought that was magnificent. Also, here's another culture casting. Bud Mullen, who edited this movie, edited Up the Academy.
Oh wow. What a movie. Is that movie better than this one? I don't know.
Hopefully by now people have already sent us tweets, but the name of that movie is Wildcats. So yeah. The screenplay writer who helped adapt this, Robert Klein, his next film, Chris, would be National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Which I am looking forward to talking about because that's the one I saw the most.
And also before he did Man with One Red Shoe, he did Unfaithfully Yours.
Ooh, another farce.
Yes, which
Like to adapt the French farce.
which oddly was written originally by Preston Sturges. And I was talking before we started recording a little bit about Preston Sturges, and Veber reminded me of Sturges because, like Sturges, his movies kept being directed by other people. And he just kept saying, I want to direct. These other people aren't doing my movies justice. I want to direct. And so then he finally got, I think The Toy is his first one.
Wow.
Wild.
So he got his wish.
So Robert Klein, known for Weekend at Bernie's, a movie I have never seen.
I've never seen it either. Father Malone, have you ever seen that?
I have seen that, yes.
Oh,
and I've seen the sequel, yes.
Mm.
Which, to be fair, if I want to watch one of them, I want to watch the sequel to the movie about
Yes.
because then I'm just
he's voodoo and he walks around and shit. It's great.
Wow.
It's like for real.
Tales from the Crypt presents Weekend at Bernie's too. What the fuck? I mean, now I'm definitely going to watch the second one. I might not watch the first one. Speaking of comedies in the 80s, because this is an 80s comedy, at least the Tom Hanks one is. And you mentioned Dabney Coleman. Dabney Coleman showing up in a lot of 80s comedies as the villain.
Not enough.
Modern
Correct.
Problems, Hot to Trot, 9 to 5.
About Cloak and Dagger, though. He's a hero in that one. He's a great
yes.
hero.
And I don't know if you knew about this, Father Malone, but Mike and I had joked about doing a Dabney Coleman cast.
You should. He's fucking worth it.
I mean,
nobody
he
knows.
is.
His comedic timing is fucking impeccable, man.
I mean, he was in Dragnet, one of my favorite comedies, unironically.
Doing a fucking stupid accent and it works.
Mm-hmm. And is it Hot to Trot where he has the giant fake teeth?
I think it is.
Good God in heaven.
He would do that. What was that movie he made where he was a cop who like found out he was dying, so he figured he would get killed in the line of service so his wife would get his pension?
Necessary Roughness? Just kidding. I do remember that because that was playing at the theater when I was working there. So it must have been like 90, 91.
Yep.
And God, it wasn't Couch Trip, but it was somewhere right
Yeah, like
around.
that. I want to say Cop Out, but that's that fucking Kevin Smith piece of shit.
Yeah, it was Short Time.
Short
That's where he's hanging from the building upside down, and I want to say they're is there a helicopter or something? But that's a poster for it.
And also in, the big screen adaptation of the Beverly Hillbillies, which has,
Right.
who does it have? It has,
Peter Goddard.
well, it also has Ernest P. Worrell playing the patriarch of the hillbilly clan, as it were.
Erica Eleniak as as Ellie Mae. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
And Lily Tomlin is Mrs. What's her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
Yeah,
gotta
Lily
watch this
Tomlin
again.
and Dabney Coleman, and Cloris Leachman plays Granny. She plays Granny.
Yes.
It's not a bad movie. I actually saw.
No.
Speaking of shit, I saw a lot growing up. I don't know why, but I had the VHS for Beverly Hillbillies because he plays a villain in that movie. Like, of course he does.
Oh yeah, and of course he was in War Games, which he's fucking amazing in, and then even Tootsie. I mean, he was just on fire in the 80s and early 90s.
I love Dabney Coleman.
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill, baby. Which I want to say that I looked it up recently, and it didn't last very long at all.
One season, if that.
One season, and it's like that is so imprinted on my brain. They must have had the best advertising campaign ever.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
He had a one-season series comedy with Gina Davis, I believe, is in it with him. I watched every episode. I love Dabney Coleman.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and it was one of those things where all the critics were going crazy about it, but the viewers just did not tune in.
What we should do is we should do like a podcast that just looks at shows that had one season of TV that really make an indelible impression.
It's sitting waiting to be taken over by anybody, and I've made the offer 1,000,000 times. It's not like anybody's having to drag me away from it, so go for it. Hell, I might even show up if you want me to be there. I mean, look, at the end of the day, shit like that makes a bigger mark on people than most of the things that are on TV, like with 80s TV ladies, Susan and Sharon talking about these shows that I'd never heard of, but still have these like ravenous fan communities that are, I guess we're kind of a little bit there with Barney Miller and Kolchak and Columbo, but I think of those three, probably Columbo was the most sane fan group. The Kolchak shit that Kolchak stuff is still wild to me, even now. But to get back to the movie and Dabney Coleman, he's great. I mean, he's great in this. And I think to your point, Father Malone, that is a plus in the American one over the French one. Because again, I think three of us have made it very clear, big fans of Dabney Coleman.
And not to bag on the actor who plays his analog in the French one, because as you said, Mike, like his death scene is so fucking good. But that's the one thing the French one has over the other one, is that moment where he's told what actually happened. This was just a mousetrap. And once he realizes it and knows he's been caught, he just sort of grins and dies. And I loved that moment.
I think that's my favorite moment of all three films, is that singular moment, because it is the payoff that the American one doesn't have, at least not as kind of like abrupt. And I don't know, like the payoff is so great, and you get to see it on the character's face, which I appreciate. The acting is fantastic. Yes, I don't know why they didn't do it in the American one. Like they could have. There's nothing stopping them.
No,
I guess they were just like, we don't need to have more people die. I mean, it's not afraid to kill people. I mean, plenty of people die in the American one. So it's kind of weird. It's not like it's a bloodless movie. I mean, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people die at least? 4 for sure. The 4 assassins do.
I really like when they're in his apartment and you've got the 4 assassins in one room and the one just like closes the door as he's walking in. So he's completely clueless that they're there. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. I mean, the French, I think, are great at that whole, closed door, open door comedy kind of stuff. And that scene, and then all of I know that silenced revolvers really bother you, Chris, but I just appreciate this, that gunfight is silent, that there is no noise happening because they've got the guy in the other room and they're just using these silencers and taking each other out. They don't even go or anything like that. It's just silent and they fall.
When the fuck were we talking about silenced revolvers?
Every time we talk about silenced revolvers, you bring up that there is no such thing.
Because there is no such thing. I will once again reiterate, it's not a thing, guys. There are no silencers for fucking open chambered guns like that. That's not a thing.
I watch movies, they're all over the place.
Right. Which is why James Bond uses a revolver with a silencer on the end.
Exactly.
It made me laugh. But again, I think in my mind, it adds more to the kind of absurdity of the piece. I don't think they knew it looked ridiculous, but it does look ridiculous. And yeah, in the French one, you don't even hear them shoot.
I think it looks cool. I mean, I know it's ridiculous, but it looks cool.
Right. I mean, yeah, like it's ridiculous. I mean, they're doing it because it looks cool, but it is like ridiculous to do that. But again, in my mind, that silence in the French one, like the American one, it's a lot louder when they're being shot too. Like the French one, I honestly, towards the end of the movie, when they were shooting each other, I was like, oh, they just killed each other, huh? Okay. It's literally silent, to your point, Mike, like barely audible, if audible at all.
Yeah, and I thought that was a nice stylistic touch. I thought that Yves Robert brought a little bit more style to the film than Stanley or whatever the other guy's name is. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm not necessarily complaining about the direction of the American film. I thought it was competent. I just thought that the French one was a little bit more stylish. Some of the, just even some of the framing of the shots and stuff, I thought looked a little nicer.
It feels a little bit more high cinema, right? Like one step above, but not 5 steps above. That's, I think, to your point. Like it's like 1 or 2 steps up, but not. I mean, the American one's well directed. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing about it that says, oh, this is an X, Y, or Z person's film. It's well directed. Doesn't need to be any more than that.
It's workmanlike, just like Mr. Bomb. This is he does his job. He does, he lets the characters do their thing. There's some good compositions too. It's not like he's a poor filmmaker. No. It's just that you're up against a French film from 1972. Just by that nature, it's going to be more stylish than yours.
Right. Totally. And it's unfair at the outset, which, I mean, and again, I don't think that the American film is even worried about that. I don't think it's worried about living up to the artistic standard that the French one may have set in its own mind. Because again, at the end of the day, it is still a spy comedy film. It's not trying to be some sort of musing on the human condition. It's meant to be a funny movie about the government getting involved in a guy who plays an instrument's life, and that guy just is kind of clueless for the most part and living within his own world while things are happening to him. And yeah, I don't know. That's the other thing. The French one, for me, it is, I mean, funnier is not important in this context because, again, comedy is so subjective, but I think the French one is trying to be more of an arty thing, and the American one is just trying to tell the goddamn story in a lot of ways. And I think that's why our kind of thoughts on the American one tend to lie on, oh, they fleshed out the characters more. Oh, they did more with some of the stuff that you would expect them to do. And in the French one, it's more about just, I mean, kind of, you've already alluded to it, Father Malone, being kind of a farce, being kind of a fun movie where all these wacky, wild things are happening. I mean, it doesn't happen in the American one, which was kind of a shame, but wanted to see Tom Hanks blow bubbles out of his mouth. Because Pierre Richard burping out those bubbles was a pretty great gag. And I was like, oh, that's not in the American one. And I get why it's not. Because again, French one's a little bit more.
You get one bubble.
But you don't get like like a bubble machine, which is like, I mean, that's the gag, right? And it's trying to do something different, but I think you can get something out of each of them that I think the filmmakers are intending, at least, which is to tell it a kind of an interesting, funny story that, I mean, again, the sequel kind of ruins it for the French one, but I think both the American and the French original films are well made, well thought out, funny, and an interesting look at a world through a lens that we normally don't see, which is an outsider being brought in, but not being aware of it. We've seen plenty of movies where, oh, you're a spy now, or the man who knew too little, or stuff like that. And this is, he never knows, is the point. And that's why it's so fun, is that he's never in on the gag. Moment he's fucking in on it, it's no fun anymore. It's like you've taken all of the fun out and you've replaced it with bullshit in the second movie. Because the second movie's not, I don't know what the point of the second movie is, but the point of the second movie in my mind seems to be making money. Because it doesn't treat the first movie like anything that happened in the first movie actually matters. It pretty much just walks everything back in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that. I think I liked it better than you guys did, but I still was just like, yeah, right. I mean, it's just such a different flavor of movie. And yeah, it definitely does undo. I just kind of liked seeing Maurice get tortured more, because I'm sadistic. So.
Well, I liked the thing I did like about the sequel was seeing more Jean Rochefort. Like, I didn't necessarily think his character deserved to become our hero or anything, but like spending more time with him was fun. Like he's He's got such a goddamn presence. Speaking of like those faces, just seems like a statue come to life.
Well, and I agree with you, Mike, in terms of I think the Maurice character is the most interesting part of the second movie, because it's just that further needling of him, and we see kind of where he ends up at the end of the first movie. It's like, oh man, they're just upping the stakes even more, and they're pushing it even further. But there was no sequel to the American one. Who knows what that would have looked like? I mean, for a whole host of reasons, there's not a sequel to that.
Yeah. What?
What might that be?
Budget of 16 million, total gross 8. There's no sequel to The Man with One Red Shoe.
No. Yeah. Which is a shame, because those kind of numbers are for a movie much worse than this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this a lot more than, like I said, when I saw it when I was 13. 'Cause when I saw this when I was young, I was just like, this is interminable. And I just didn't connect with it at all. So I definitely connected with it a lot more this time around. But it's still not 100%. And yeah, I think it was just that early Hanks for me, where he just didn't feel like he was comfortable in his own skin at this point.
So I've never seen, and not to make a gag, but I have never seen Splash.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm asking this as someone who is putting themselves in a vulnerable position and saying they've never seen a very important movie for a lot of people that's a very good movie. Was that movie and his performance so good in that movie that maybe it kind of gave people an idea of where he was going to be, and then there were a couple movies that weren't great in between there, and I would think the next thing that everybody fucking knows, which is Big, which I watched finally last year. I hadn't even seen it, and I understood. I get it. I didn't resonate with that movie at all, because that movie's got some weird things going on in it that I have a really weird time talking about, because it's just such a fucking weird movie, but I understand why it's so popular. So is that what's going on here with Tom Hanks? I'm asking y'all because you guys reacted to me saying I'd never seen Splash.
I think Splash is the Tom Hanks persona that would eventually be sort of cemented. And I think in between, he was playing characters. So he was sort of subsuming himself into that role. He wasn't doing a Cary Grant kind of a thing, like, now I'm Tom Hanks in this role.
Right.
So removing Tom Hanks from the equation as what he eventually becomes, when you look at his place in that movie, he's just another part of the movie. Whereas in the French one, it's like it's a showpiece role to show off comedic chops. Whereas Tom Hanks, like everything else, all the comedy is sort of toned down a bit. So I think he's playing more to the dramatics of it. He's the straight guy of the piece,
Right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the other big contrast, like you just alluded to, Father Malone. Pierre Richard just gets to kind of really be physically comedic and funny in a way that Tom Hanks, it's not that he doesn't, it's just that's not the intent of the American film. It's not as interesting.
If they had Jim Carrey playing the Tom Hanks role, then it would be a lot closer to the French one.
Took that right out of my head. Yeah. Yeah. Tom Hanks his career was pretty uneven. I mean, he was doing very popular things. I remember, every movie that Hanks did, and really every movie is somebody's favorite movie, right? But there are a lot of movies that he did between Splash and Big that people just absolutely love. I know some people love Bachelor Party. My in-laws love The Money Pit.
I love Dragnet. That's in between. That's in between.
I don't know if anybody loves Nothing in Common, but it's there, and Volunteers is there. It exists, but
boy, doesn't it?
It was pretty rocky, and it took a little while, even after Big. Stuff like Punchline, I saw that one, and again, I don't know, being 16 years old, if that one would connect with me a lot more now being 52. But then after that, it's like still kind of rocky with like people love The Burbs. Turner and Hooch is, he's starting to go into family stuff. Joe versus the Volcano for me is a personal favorite that I just think more people should see. And then he's the one who gets away unscathed from Bonfire of the Vanities.
Boy, isn't he?
Yeah. And next thing you know, he's in A League of Their Own. And that, again, just like thrusts him into this whole other world.
And then you have Sleepless in Seattle, Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, Apollo 13, and Toy Story.
Boom,
fucking
boom,
murderer's row of shit. If you were the lead in one of those movies, you'd be happy, let alone the lead in 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait, all of them. Literally all of them. So
reunites with Dabney Coleman in You've Got Mail. So bringing it back to Coleman.
And reunites with Carrie Fisher in The Burbs.
Exactly.
All roads lead back to Coleman. I love Gavin.
There's our new podcast slogan right there.
The roads all lead back to Gary Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman.
It's just a galaxy of bronze.
What are you talking about, Willis?
Sincerely, I don't understand.
Good Lord. That's what we should have done. Instead of Francis Veber films, Gary Coleman films. It's like, what, 5?
Oh, there's probably a lot
of
more
TV movies.
Yeah. With the kid, the angel kid, the kid with wings or something.
Yeah. The kid with the golden arm. Oh, no, that's what I just imagined.
There's one that I think people can't find. It's like a lost Gary Coleman film. I don't remember what the title was, though, offhand.
A lost Gary Coleman film.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you guys before we pivot away from Tom Hanks, because I don't know if we talked about this last year. If I asked y'all, what is the quintessential Tom Hanks role? I mean, it's not this movie, obviously, but what is like for each of you, what is the Tom Hanks role? When you think of Tom Hanks, association immediately is what role?
Oh, unfortunately, it's fucking Forrest Gump.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, I wish that it was Green Mile. I mean, I really like the Green Mile. I know that there are some problems with the Green Mile, but I really like it, the whole magical Negro thing, but I dig it. And yeah, I wish it was that came to mind first, but he just did that Gump thing, and that Gump thing was all over the place. You don't hear Weird Al singing about the Green Mile.
That Gump you do. God. Right, you Father Malone.
Well, you did ask me this last year.
And
my answer remains the same. When I think of Tom Hanks, the first movie that comes to mind, and therefore my answer is The Burbs.
Right. Okay. That's fair.
That to me is, he does everything I love him doing in a comedic performance, and nobody does exasperated, like fully justified exasperated better than Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
It's on full display in that flick.
When he raises that voice, that no crying in baseball type voice, he's really killing it. And
you are a toy. That voice, you mean?
Yes.
There's no crying in baseball. That whole thing.
That was pretty good, Tom Hanks.
Thank you. But I mean, I grew up with the guy on Bosom Buddies, and my heart still goes to that a lot. But there's a reason why he was so successful with that being one of his first TV projects.
Well, and we just talked about on Film Foundation's Meryl Streep, and I made the comparison that Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep are like that actor, actress of a, like, I would say they're the quintessential American actor and actress. If you're in, and I don't think there's anybody that you could currently put them up against that they are going to be second to. I think Meryl Streep, obviously, for a whole host of reasons, and Tom Hanks. I think they're like the people we think of when you think of a quintessential American actor. Most people probably would think of Tom Hanks. Maybe not of a certain generation. I mean, there are other people that I think are better examples, but they're long dead. Or they're not long dead, but dead long enough that there have been plenty of people born who don't know who the fuck they are. And they're the same people that go, who's this Paul McCartney guy doing a fucking duet with Kanye West? Oh my God. I want to die on the inside. You guys ever heard of Paul McCartney before? It's that thing. So that's why I kind of worry about it. But I think Tom Hanks is like the quintessential American actor, frankly.
Yeah, I think he's like the Jimmy Stewart of today. And there might be somebody else coming for his lunch right now. I'm not sure exactly who it would be. I think Pedro Pascal is too much of a flavor, I think.
Yeah, boy, a flavor of a certain variety.
But he is kind of, I heard somebody call him the internet's daddy, and I was just like, yeah, that's kind of what Tom Hanks used to be.
No, Tom Hanks was our dad.
Yeah,
that's
not daddy.
People just want to fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They want to, they want to sit on Pedro Pascal's face, baby.
BDE, Big Daddy Energy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Dad and daddy, two very different contexts here being used.
My bad.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody right now that I would even put kind of in a because at one point it was
nobody
like
gunning to be the conscience of America.
No, but I don't even think there's anybody that anyone as like if a group consensus was taken. Like there are some people that maybe for a while like a Chris Pratt type. Right, I'm with you on that. I don't need him to be Mario and Garfield for fuck's sake. But
maybe one of these days Ryan Gosling will be that. I don't know.
Or Ryan Reynolds?
No, never.
But he's
I'm
Canadian
trying to think of like who could narrate the story of like 9/11, or who could be that voice when you come into Freedom Tower. Like when Tom Hanks and Rita got COVID, it was just like, oh shit, it's real now.
Literally, that was the big, like, I remember that more than I remember anything else about that day, was Tom Hanks going, I have COVID. And that in my mind is like, that is the moment that the pin was put in for me, where it's like, if we as a society are going, Tom Hanks has COVID and this is a thing we can all go, holy shit to. Yeah. Like that for me is like, wow, that's the person then, right?
Yeah. I think.
No, Father Malone?
Yeah. Okay. On my favorite subject, guys.
Fair. That's fair.
Very
and I
fair.
think, and I think also, to be fair, in terms of someone like Tom Hanks, when we talk about their mainstream appeal, he also has something that a lot of other actors don't have, which is he's known for his voice work and he's known for his actual in front of the screen, because there are plenty of people that know him as Woody from Toy Story. And that has nothing to do with being in front of the camera either, on top of everything else. So that I think further to your point.
You are gunning for Chris Pratt then.
You're right.
Known voice artist Chris Pratt.
Yeah, known for Mario and and Garfield now, I guess. Jesus.
That'll be good.
Yeah,
What are you trying to do? Take work away from Bill Murray? Come on.
Gosh, you're right. Lorenzo Music actually is the one.
Exactly. Yeah, he was the perfect one.
Yeah, God. Yeah, I don't know. I always just grapple with Tom Hanks as an actor, because I think there's a lot of movies that he's done that are amazing, but then he's done a lot of stuff that's just, it's Tom Hanks in this movie, like Sully or all the Dan Brown things, or I mean, a lot of his recent stuff like Elvis. I think actually he's the worst part of that movie.
Oh, he's terrible.
Yeah, look, the practical effects weren't helping, but then to compile that with him having to do a terrible accent on top of everything else, and to play the villain
accent, Cloud Atlas. What?
Oh, also that. And to your point, he was in one 9/11 movie?
Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. But was he even in that movie, or was it just his voice on the answering machine?
I think he was the dead dad, no?
Yeah, because I think I actually saw that piece of shit, and holy cow.
Emotional manipulation.
Oh boy, yeah.
Tom Hanks is, I think to your point, uneven at a certain point, but then after a while, it's just like he's just sailing on through as Tom Hanks, which is, at this point, that's fine, because he's already made Forrest Gump 20 years on now, so 20 plus years on. So
I mean, I thought News of the World was decent. I have really wanted to see a hologram for the King, and I haven't watched it yet, but because I was a big Tom Tweaker fan way back with Run Lola Run, and I think he did at least one other film that I really liked. So I was like, oh, cool. He's making an American film, and he's got Tom Hanks in it. And I know that there's a connection because Tweaker also worked on Cloud Atlas, but I'm going to try to not hold that against him.
Cloud Atlas. Speaking of another episode of this show I was not on, only 2 episodes of the Culture Cast exist without me: Love at First Bite and Cloud Atlas, both of which have been mentioned on this episode. Yikes to both of them, frankly. I'm actually glad we watched these movies, though, because I was kind of curious. When you said Francis Veber films, I didn't look anything up ahead of time. I was like, I don't know what these are going to be. And so for this to be just like a comedy was a nice, easy entry into this compared to all the things you've made me watch before. I'm trying to remember what the original Mike White May was. Was it Japanese New Wave films?
It might have been, yeah.
Good. Eros plus Massacre. See, Father Malone, aren't you glad you didn't have to watch a 3-hour Japanese New Wave film?
I kind of would have been into it, honestly.
I mean, it's
hanging.
Death by Jesus Christ, Death by Hanging. That was. Yeah, those were a quicker introduction into the world of Mike White than this is. This is very easy watching. I think if you're not into international film, the Tall Blond Man with One Black Shoe is a good entry point. It's an easy, light comedy, not asking much of you as an audience, and then you can go watch the Tom Hanks one and kind of watch it and feel smart because you already know where it's going, and when it surprises you, it feels earned. Anything else we want to talk about with The Man with One Red Shoe?
I think I'm good.
Really big shoe. Father Malone, final thoughts on The Man with One Red Shoe?
Well, I mean, you know what? I was just about to say that I love it because I, loved it when I was a kid. But having rewatched it, I really enjoyed it. A lot of those actors, it's just people with fucking great character actors. I'm always trying to get people to see Garrett Graham in more things. So, not alone would recommend the movie. But honestly, watch both. Like, I know I have my preference, but they're both equal, nearly. I mean, you're going to find things to recommend each of them. So I say go out and check them both out. They're easily available.
What about you, Mike White?
Yeah, I would definitely follow that up, and I would say avoid the sequel. That's really okay if you skip the return of the Tall Blond Man. Otherwise, yeah, you're looking good. And I'm really excited because I have not rewatched. I mean, of course, I've seen The Toy, but I think other than The Toy, and I'm talking about the Richard Donner, Richard Pryor version, I don't think I've seen any of these movies. So this is going to be a brand new adventure for me as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. Especially, I am excited very much now to see the rest of these.
Me too. And that was, I think, the big takeaway here for me. To your point, Father Malone, compare, contrast. I think these are both good movies. To what I said at the beginning, like there is a very narrow line separating them. And I think when it's something like this, and you alluded to it already, I can't really suggest one over the other because I think they both deserve to be watched. That may not be the case the rest of the month. I don't know. Again, I've only seen one of the things we're going to talk about, and it's the American version of the French version. So this is a good way to start the month. I mean, two good movies. Are they movies that everybody is going to resonate with? No, but you might resonate with one over the other, which I think is also perfectly fine. So yeah, on that note, we'll take a break and play some ads, and then we'll play a preview for the next Culture Cast.
From Weirding Way Media, Cambridge and Wishawn is a podcast about two guys' obsessions, passions, and hobbies. Those two guys are
Mark Begley, host of Wake Up Heavy, Recollections of Horror,
and Ronald Zerigian, host of the Skelevator YouTube channel.
Each month we talk about the toys, comics, movies, books, TV shows, and other cultural phenomena that captured our imaginations and helped shape who we are today.
From Masters of the Universe to Saturday Night Live, Star Wars to Harry Houdini, The Muppets to The Elephant Man, Ronnie and Mark dive deep into the recesses of their minds to pull out treasured memories of things lost but never forgotten.
Join us on the first Tuesday of each month over at weirdingwaymedia.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Join me, Jamie Benning, on the Filmumentaries podcast, particularly if you enjoy stories like designer Nilo Rodis Jamiro convincing George Lucas to push him around to help gain the support of his crew on the ailing Howard the Duck.
Blam! The door opens, it's George. Everybody gasps. George makes a beeline to me. I'm literally back against the wall.
Or hear puppeteer Tim Rose's emotional story behind that iconic Admiral Akbar shot in Return of the Jedi.
I believe that war is something to be proud of, but not to celebrate.
Or how Star Wars editor Paul Hirsch tackled cutting so many successful films.
The thing that I learned from working with De Palma is that tension depends on a clock. You need to have the sense that time is running out.
Maybe Oscar-winning sound designer Mark Mangini's insightful chat about his work on Blade Runner 2049.
Not a single sound from the original Blade Runner in the new film. A great deal of inspiration.
That's the Filmumentaries podcast with me, Jamie Benning.
Hello, Twisted Humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. In 1952, there was a record high of UFOs reported. 1,500 sightings. There has been evidence of human sacrifice, devil worship, and it is haunted by more spirits than can be counted. A family of 2 adults and 2 kids reportedly saw a giant flying thing with glowing red eyes.
And meanwhile, the family's nanny that helped Veronica to care for her and Lucian's children was found bludgeoned to death in the basement of their family home.
I'm Alicia. And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
What do you give the kid who has everything?
Daddy said anything I wanted, anything in the store.
For Eric Bates, it was the only toy in his father's store
I know what I want.
that wasn't for sale.
What you're offering me is not a job, sir. It's an insult, and I'm insulted, and I'm splitting.
Now, Jack Brown has been made an offer he can't refuse.
$10,000?
For that kind of money, if Eric blows his nose, you wipe it.
And if he can survive 1 week with Eric,
Was I bad?
What you were gave a new meaning to the word bad.
he may even find himself a friend.
If you want a friend, you don't buy a friend. You earn a friend.
Richard Pryor, Jackie Gleason, Ned Beatty, and Scott Schwartz in a Richard Donner film, The Toy.
That's right. On the next Culture Cast, we are going to be talking about the aforementioned toy and the toy. Le Toy and the Toy.
Le Toy.
I don't know if we're going to watch the new toy as well. I'm probably going to watch it if I can, but
Is that the name of it? The new toy?
The new toy, yeah. Yet another version of it.
Jesus Christ.
What, is that a sequel or something? What is that one?
It's another remake. And then when was that released? It was pretty recent. I want to say it was 2022.
Wow.
Oh, dear God.
Fuck, I'm going to watch that independent of you guys.
Yes, it is 2022. It was James Huff directed it. I'm not sure what language this is. And, Le Nouveau Jouet. So it's definitely French.
Right on.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I think they bring in more racial politics in here because I think the new toy is also an immigrant. So
yeah, it's not Le Toy, it's Le Jouet, as you just
Jouet.
And we'll be joined by our dear friend all the way from the Chasing Chevy Chase podcast. Yes, otherwise known as the CCCP podcast. Totally not on purpose, but boy, what a happy accident that is. Oh, hail Li Jinping. Taiwan is not a country. But every time I have to type that in, I always laugh because I'm like, oh, holy shit. We happened into that abbreviation by pure accident. So we'll be joined by our dear friend Mark Begley on that episode. Until then, where can people find all the fantastic things you spend your time on, Father Malone?
Go over to weirdingwaymedia.com. You mentioned it earlier. We do a show called Midnight Viewing, which is a bi-monthly show, but now it's a weekly show because if you tune in every other week, you'll hear me and co-host Antonio Lepore as we take a look at anthologies of all stripes and varieties, starting with Heavy Metal from 1981, the animated anthology film.
See, now he's going to do all the fun stuff without us. That's what see, Mike? He's like, oh, and now we're going to do Heavy Metal. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
I can see where I'm not wanted.
We don't get to take a ride on Heavy Metal with you.
No, but you should tune in. It's really it's some good, incisive thoughtfulness.
You have no power here.
And if your ad is any indication, you talk about framing Roger Rabbit too.
It's a very far-ranging conversation about technology as an animation, and we get into everything. So it's worth a listen, everybody.
What about you, Mike White? Where can people find all of your assorted audio things?
Ironically enough, at the same place as Father Malone mentioned, weirdingwaymedia.com. It's the place for everything that you need, all your sundry podcasting needs. How about you, Chris?
No, what a fun answer I'll be giving. Weirding Way Media is where you can go to find everything I work on outside of one thing that is behind the paywall, and that is over at patreon.com/culturecast or patreon.com/projection booth. That is Rankin' on Bond, where Mike and I, along with our dear friend Richard Haddam of Richard Haddam's Paranormal Bookshelf, you can give me $5 for that one, Richard. We talk all about James Bond. So yeah, we'll be doing that every month over at Patreon. If you want to check that out, you should. We are right now at Goldfinger, which is a good place to get in on it because...
And with the golden touch.
Yeah, also that as he interjects the song. I mean, it's a good song. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best part of the movie, but it's one of the best things in an amazing movie. Yeah, and so if you want to hear us talk about that, head on over there. As for this show, find it on iTunes. That's where it is. If you're not finding it on iTunes, head over to iTunes, like, rate, and review the show. You'd help the show out immensely by finding a bigger audience. So, Father Malone, thank you so much for joining us, obviously, and Mike for programming the month. But you'll be here next week, so...
I'll be here. Can't keep me away. Wild horses couldn't tear me away.
Try the veal, obviously. And, yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode.